one two one two，一二。
Hi everyone, can we please have everyone seated? We'll start soon. Welcome all to the 2024 Smart Airport Challenge Showcase brought to you by MIT Hong Kong Innovation Node. My name is Charlotte Lam and I will be the MC for today. This event is made possible by the funding support of the HKSAR Innovation and Technology Commission and the Airport Authority Hong Kong, featuring distinguished speakers and a total of 8 student teams. These teams will present innovative solutions for the aviation sector with a focus on building a passenger-centric travel ecosystem. Before we begin, may we invite Professor Charlie Sodini, Faculty Director of MIT Node and Labelle Professor of Electrical Engineering at MIT for opening remarks.
Thank you, Charlotte. And thanks, students. I won't take too long here because I know you're pretty nervous, but I'll say a few words. I'm staying out at HKUST, Folgay Dai Ho, as it might be called. And out there, from there, I go on the MTR quite a bit and pass this MTR station called Yao Tong. And that station has a lot of sentiment for MEMSI because at our first MEMSI that we did in 2016, we didn't have the space upstairs, the innovation node yet. And so we were nomadic. And we had it was just a week. And we had a week which with about 3 days at Hong Kong U, where we did some lectures and things like that, and the students stayed in the dorms. And then we transferred out to HKUST, and that was closer to Yao Tong, where we had a maker space that people gracefully allowed us to use. And so that's where they did the making and the finishing up. And then finally, just next door at the Inno Center was where we did the showcase. So we got the students to be able to see Hong Kong quite well. What's more important is we brought together MIT students and Hong Kong students, and that was an experiment. I thought it would work out well. Well, it worked out much, much better than I ever thought. It's really turned into be a very good cultural experience as well as learning things about entrepreneurship, making, and other things that we get from this program. The node opened up in 2017, and we, at that time, started to bring the entrepreneurship curriculum from the MIT Trust Center and develop it for the programs that you're going to see today. But as I always say to students and to faculty and to our illustrious guests, at MIT we teach our students, but we also learn from our students. And that's what makes us, has the ability to change the program, change how we do things each time we do it again and again, and it gets better or evolves with what the needs of the program are or the needs of the students. And so what we like to do is to then package that in different ways so we can bring it out to more than just this one event or other events like MEFTI, but we'd like to also bring it out to high schools, and namely high school students as well as high school teachers. And we've done quite a bit of that. And one of the missions of the node is to bring MIT's impact to the local community. And that's the way we try to do it, is one example of the way we try to do it. So with that, I will wish our students the best of luck, and go get them. Take care.
Thank you, Professor Sodini. So we are delighted to have distinguished speakers this morning to enlighten us with their insights into this space. May we invite our first speaker, Mr. Julian Lee, Executive Director, Finance of the Airport Authority, Hong Kong.
So I have a double connection. So not only working at the authority, but also MIT alumni as well. So welcome. I think that well, I guess you may not have time, but at least for the Hong Kong students, anyone have watched the TV series? Okay, not okay. No one watch TV anymore. The airport drama. So whatever that you actually saw inside was actually demonstrated at the TV drama. So hopefully, I think that the airport is trying to do a lot more engagement. I think using this opportunity, right? You could see that we have been trying very hard at the authority to adopt various technologies, in the real world applications. To me, the most amazing part was the use of autonomous vehicle, where I think we now have around like 40 of those automated electric tractors, and also patrol cars and also shuttle buses around the airport. Actually, probably we are the only airport that adopts autonomous vehicle usage at real operations, and we have like real visions to expand it, even beyond the restricted area of the airport. So this is the 4th year that we are organizing this together with MIT Node of Hong Kong. I think that throughout this few years, we have seen many challenges, right? COVID, and also geopolitics. But I think that the spirit of having MIT students, here working with Hong Kong students is actually the real demonstrations of how a cultural exchange, right, in real life application projects, where US students from MIT and also Hong Kong local students can work together on a project. Those are real demonstration of international cooperations, which in these days are getting more rare. So actually, I would encourage you, even after this project, to keep in touch and ensure that this cooperation would continue, because the real dialogues and real understandings of other culture actually starts with working together on some real project on a mutually respectful way. And I think that's actually where we Hong Kongers stands, right? We work on the meritocracies, and we work globally, with mainland Chinese and also with American, on technologies as well. So I think this experience should be very valuable for you, and hopefully would make some impact to your life. For students in Hong Kong, right? If you find this project interesting, hopefully there'll be entrepreneurships, works that can be done afterwards. There's also some internships available opening up later on at the Airport Authority, so if you're interested. So I think this also will give you a head start in terms of working at the Airport Authority as well. There are many partners that we work with, but hopefully you'll be interested in aviation. So with that, I would stop and have a good presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. May we now invite our next speaker, Associate Professor Tuan Phan from the HKU Business School, to join the stage. Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you. Happy to be here. I've been always it's quite a pleasure to come to work with MIT Node, with MEMSI, and I think I was part of some of the first batches where we were like going to Shenzhen and whatnot. So I'm happy to be here to also share a lot of experience about the aviation industry and some of my work on that as well. I play a number of different roles. Oh, I think the first photo didn't go on top. So I currently am a professor at the HKU Business School. Also an MIT alum, way back in the days. But I also play a number of different roles. And prior to coming to HKU, I was at NUS, where I had set up the NUS Singapore Airlines corporate lab. And it's a PPP, public-private partnership, where the university was engaging a lot of research to help the aviation industry, sponsored by the airline as well as the government and, of course, the university. But beyond the airline, we're also working with the Changi Airport and many other airports. So this is just some of the stuff that we're doing back then. But before we start diving down that area, I want to kind of maybe motivate what we can learn from big data and consumer analytics. So a lot of my work is analyzing digital traces that we all leave behind, and how companies and businesses can leverage that and build better understanding of consumers. But first thing is that we know that data and technology is quite ubiquitous. It's in our everyday life, everything from social media to we have like all these agents, face recognition, right? But if we don't leverage data, we really see that can be very disruptive to an industry, and aviation not being an exception to this, right? We see, for example, in retailing, that a lot of offline retailers who don't innovate became zombies. Right, it results in them, not doing as well, and they're not really able to upgrade and innovate. So we see disruptors like Amazon, Alibaba, and all these coming in to take the lion's share of the retail space. Right, and now we have like Sears, which is like in the U.S., which is like over 100-year-old company, a retailer went bankrupt, and now there's almost a zombie list of retailers going bankrupt because they're not able to innovate. So I'm not saying that airports will go online because we still need to fly. It's a physical thing still, but I think that we can still do a lot more on this, right? The silver lining here is that it can work, and we do see in retail space, for example, that the ones that do innovate do succeed, right? So it's not that they're dead. It's changing the business model and the way that they're doing things. And so here we're saying that it's not dead, it's just, we just have to change. Another example of data analytics is in the hospitality in casinos. So Harrah's Casino is one of the cases I used, and they were using loyalty cards, and they beat the market in the way they analyzed their data and the way that consumers, they were able to target the right consumers. All right. Another example is video streaming. So Netflix it took out Blockbuster. So for those in the U.S., maybe I'm a little bit older than some of you. But back in the olden days, Blockbuster was like the big videotape VHS renting service, and they were everywhere. And this small little startup came out and completely changed the industry, right? And a lot of that was also because when you go online, you're able to get a lot more data about your consumers than offline. So you can see, for example, what you searched, what you clicked on, what you viewed before you purchase. But when you do offline, you only have that data when that make that transaction, right? So that's some of the big gaps in the data, right? I won't go through all this, but Netflix has been doing great. Actually, I just saw the latest report, and they just now have surpassed their record again for the number of most subscribers worldwide. So they're still on a great trajectory, right? Another one that's been having issues is the newspaper industry. Back in the olden days, you get these newspapers, you read it, and then in Hong Kong, I guess you use the newspaper to wrap vegetables afterwards. And now, the iPads don't wrap vegetables very well. But people are reading it digitally, right? And if the ones that are not innovating are the ones that are really having a lot of issues in this industry. So I worked a bit with also Straits Times and Singapore Press Holdings in Singapore to help them to find a new model and understand more about the consumers, right? So I won't go through all this. Another area is also in the fintech space, in financial services. So I also teach a class on fintech. And we have traditional financial industry, financial institutions like DBS and HSBC, right? And we have the tech companies like Google and Apple coming in and really making them run for their money, right? And now we're trying to see how can they work together. And now we see kind of these hybrids, which are kind of like sometimes fintech, a collaboration perhaps between the financial institutions with some of the startups. So, and a lot of that is they're trying to leverage consumer data to build better insights. So a lot of the innovation we see in the fintech space is in the retail and consumer fintech. Okay, but all of this kind of generates really what I call like the perfect storm, because we have lots and lots of consumer data. We have increasing computing capacity and also decreasing computer cost. Right? So what you have in your pockets right now is a more powerful computer than what sent people to the moon. Right? And Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, if they had that in their pockets, they could easily get to the moon and watch a TikTok video at the same time. Right? But back then, the computers were done, in the olden days in MIT, we were doing slide rules and pocket protectors and all these things. Okay? And so I want to share a little bit some of the stuff. We teach a class on like big data, and there's lots and lots of different types of big data. But I'll just focus on a few key ones for now. Okay. So one of them is that we do a lot of eye tracking, and eye tracking has been around for quite some time for marketers, trying to see what images and what content and see where people are looking. Right. So traditionally you do it like maybe in the gaming industry or designing ads. And the technology is relatively simple, is that they're shining infrared light into your